What's up, everybody? Hey, Tom Laird here, host of the Advice from a Call Center Geek podcast and founder of Expivia. For exceptional contact center outsourcing, trust Expivia. We're fully AI-driven, as all of you know, and can handle voice, email, chat, and all of your digital channels. Our 600-seat USA contact center is expert in healthcare, financial services, insurance, tech support, retail, and more. Experts on the NICE CX1 platform, we ensure seamless customer experiences. DM me or visit expiviausa.com for more.
This is Advice from a Call Center Geek, a weekly podcast with a focus on all things call center. We'll cover it all from call center operations, hiring, culture, technology, and education. We're here to give you actionable items to improve the quality of yours and your customers' experience. This is an evolving industry with creative minds and ambitious people like this guy. Not only is his passion call center operations, but he's our host. He's the CEO of Expivia Interaction Marketing Group and the Call Center Geek himself, Tom Laird.
What's up, guys? Anybody who's joining here, I know we'll normally give it a couple minutes. Just doing our weekly AMA for anything that you guys may have. I know there's a lot going on in the economy. I'm getting a ton of questions that I want to address some of that stuff today. With an economic downturn, a recession, what are some of the things that we do in our contact center? It's an interesting time for sure. I just posted, we're going to do a full a full podcast on this next week when I get back from CCW. But I have a ton of thoughts of kind of what we do during recession mode. And I just posted, kind of my first thought there on LinkedIn and did a video and on TikTok as well. But, I think, to hop right into this, looking at the efficiencies of your contact center, while we're never going to just let quality go, right? But looking at the efficiencies of your contact center is, I think, it kind of, the spotlight turns on that, right? So again, if you have budget for new software, you don't want to lose that budget, then I would say looking at tools like WFM tools, maybe some more self-service, looking at natural language processing in your IVR, all those things that could make your contact center more efficient and maybe a little bit more than kind of the analytics tool that I love, right? And I'm probably going to tick off a lot of people who've done some podcasts and things with me in the past. But, again, I think some of those tools might be able to help as well. But that's kind of what we do. We make sure that, everything is absolutely benchmarked. We're looking to see if there's any type of stragglers with handle time, right? Is there anything that we can eke out, those 2 or 3 more calls per interval, those types of things that maybe we don't need that extra head count. WFM and forecasting takes a huge importance in what we're doing. So, I have a lot of thoughts on that and some of the things that, you can do from an efficiency standpoint. I know I focus so much more probably on the quality side, right? But I think that, we need to really start to look at this because I don't know what's going to happen here. Normally in my business, being an outsourcer, it's a huge time of year, right? Outsourcing kind of pluses up, and our business normally goes up during economic downturns. Now, depending, right? We, if there's a financial crisis and you're working for all banks, like I did in the past, that's not great. But if you're pretty diversified and you can handle different types of channels as an outsourcer, it can be a time where you can help a lot of companies, kind of going through that where, you're probably more efficient. You already have the people. You can kind of get some of their headcount off their books from a W-2 standpoint. And I think it can be, that can be a win-win there as well. I got my buddy here, Bill, who just wants to know kind of what goes on at Call Center Week. Bill, for me, it's I'm going to be doing some speaking. I'm going to be having a ton of meet and greets with some people. Kind of excited, to kind of get back out again. The headliners I normally don't see. I don't even know who they are. They're normally non-contact center people. I think it's like Jason Alexander, like the old Seinfeld dude, right? Erin Andrews. I think I saw Erin Andrews. I think she's one of the keynotes. But I'm kind of there more to shake hands and see if I can add value to people, see if I can get more people to listen to the podcast. Just try to get my Rolodex or I guess maybe my LinkedIn followers and connections, get them going a little bit more as well. So I'll be out there Sunday night for anybody who's there. I know I have already dinner booked Sunday night, but I'll be there Monday, Tuesday, flying back kind of early Wednesday. So I'm not out there a ton of days, but I think enough to see everybody, be able to walk the floor, say hi, do a bunch of videos. Love to get as many of you guys that are going to go onto the podcast. I'll do a couple episodes out there with anybody who wants to do one, especially, maybe focused on the economic downturn, what you guys are starting to see, and try to get everybody here that's a listener, the kind of the voice of the industry, to see, where things are going, what people are doing, what technology people are starting to buy now. Is there a change? Be able to bring that hopefully back to you guys as kind of a voice to try to help as many of you guys as I can. But yeah, so that's kind of my that's my next couple of days. This could be interesting here too. As I'm home, I hate working from home, but I'm home today. My wife had a girls trip. She should be home any minute, so this could be a quick AMA if she comes bursting through the door. She said she'd be home at 2, so we got a little bit of time. Trying to get the kids quiet, or at least through this. They might pop in and say hi as well. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with I think some of the things that are going on from an economy standpoint. If you guys did not, or if you didn't get a chance, the last podcast episode I think was awesome with Ashish Nagar from Level AI. And I know that they're going to be out at CCW as well, but we get deep into AI. And, everybody asks the questions like, where's AI going to be in 10 years? When's the call center going away? And I think that those are easy questions. So I try to make them a little bit more relevant, right? And we talk about where AI is going to be the next 12 to 24 months, right? Up to the next 3 years. Like, what are some things that we're actually going to really see coming into play in the next year, which is kind of everybody's next budget cycle, right? As you're trying to buy new technology. Talk about, get really nerdy and go behind the scenes of what speech analytics is, right? How does that actually work? How are we collecting data? Talking about agent assist and how real-time transcription works, how they're doing a little bit differently. So we've had some amazing, Balto is an amazing company. Level AI is an amazing company that we've had on as we focus on the AI aspect of because I think that's what you guys are really interested in. So again, I'm turning more towards your way. I'm kind of an AI skeptic. I just think it's the term is overused, as you guys have heard me talk about a ton. But I'm starting to really see some of the impact of it. And I think when you dig and you kind of pull the curtain back, some of the technology and what they're doing and the impact that it's having in so many different aspects of the contact center is becoming really cool. BabelForce. I have not heard of BabelForce. There's a question, have I heard of BabelForce? I could think that would be some type of analytic tool, right? Right, Babel. All right. Here's a question from Joseph. Let's pop this in here. Put my head up here. I've been reading your advice from Call Center Geek ebook. I'm marinating on the proficiency pay and how to incent your associates section. Some of the criteria such as attendance, KPIs, but other criteria mentioned are quite subjective. Attitude, mood. Have you had any pushback or challenges connecting subjective criteria directly? Okay. I love this question. I'm going to hide you here so that I can talk, but good question. So, and maybe I didn't explain it well in the book, and this could be more late breaking than I need to update that book. So in our contact center, right, attitude and effort, right? So when we talk about mood, we talk about kind of your personality, right? Those are subjective, but with our analytics tool, we've been able to make them very objective, right? So for our customer service agents, right, we know what their sentiment scores are, right? So sentiment is basically a way that we can tell how your attitude is on the phone, your word choice, even to a certain extent, your tone, right? So we are now using that tool, right, to take away the subjectivity. And I've talked about it a lot too. Like, we struggled with that, right? Because initially you have attitude and effort, but how do you incent effort? You can kind of incent, right? But how do you incent attitude? And with the analytics tools that we have had, and we've really drilled down into them, that's how we've kind of come up with that, especially for our customer service clients and customer service agents. That's the really cool part of that tool for us, is that we can actually pay our reps, right, to be nice, right? And before you could say that and you could be like, well, their QA scores are here or there. Yeah. And I think that has a big part of it. But to say take 100% of the calls that an agent did for the day and basically be scoring them, right? And then scoring them and taking the subjectivity out of it. And I guarantee you, when I show the reps, they know who the nice people are, right? The nice reps, and they know who maybe the hardcore, maybe more salespeople are, right? And it definitely correlates, right, to show where they are on that analytic or on that attitude kind of scale. Sometimes, right, it's better to have that kind of salesy person, right? But still, we have that benchmark depending on what client, right? So we take that subjectivity out of it, and we're working on their efficiency aspect, showing up to work, making sure that they're hitting their KPIs, right? All that stuff, like their QA. And then we're also doing, are they being nice? Are they having a great attitude? Are they using a good word choice, right? And that's where our analytics comes into play. So awesome question. That's other than, being able to get specific keyword data, right, for our clients, right? To say, hey, 22% of your customers used the phrase too expensive yesterday. That's super powerful. But internally, right, for us to be able to now pay to be nice, it's pretty awesome. And it constantly gets getting better and better and better. So Joe, I appreciate that question, man. I think that's hopefully I answered that. And that's one of the really reasons that I like it. And then I will. So Babel Force here, just I'll take a look. I'll take a look. I don't really want to, kind of talk about a specific product here. So again, I'll take a peek at that as some of the stuff that we look at and maybe talk about it. So again, appreciate the heads up on a new piece of technology. But yeah, again, that's I'm glad we have analytics already kind of in play, right? Because I don't think we'd be looking at that right now. If we didn't have it, right? So I think that's has had a huge impact on not only the type of culture that we have, but also just on the bottom line for our clients to know that I can give them a score that that shows that we're being nice to their customers, which 10 years ago you couldn't do, other than the 4 or 5 calls that you monitor per rep per week kind of thing. Interesting. So yeah, that's kind of my take on that. I think too, next week I'm going to really dig deep into this kind of recession. I mean, the questions that I've been getting, on LinkedIn are just so centered around it that I really want to, kind of dig deep and try to help as much as we possibly can. And then Joe just said, hey, thanks. We're looking at analytics now. Yeah, man. Hey, let me know. I mean, just even if you're whatever tool you're looking at, we've really demoed a lot of them, just depending on what, telephony platform you have. And, there's so many really, really good ones. I mean, I'm not going to name any names here on this, but it's a really cool way to, I think, totally change your culture. When the reps know, right? Reps, if you give them goals, they're going to try to shoot for that goal. When you change the thought process of it, I think it can really, change and enhance your contact center. But anyway, getting back to kind of what I was saying, full podcast next week. We're really going to dig deep into this. I might even bring some people on that I find at CCW. I've had a couple conversations with some people down there on kind of some of the aspects. I don't want to just give you my kind of take, and maybe I can try to get somebody who has a 20-seat center, somebody who has a 2,000-seat center, and then kind of me in the middle, and kind of have maybe a little panel discussion that I'll try to do down there with, what are some of the things that everybody's doing to kind of just prepare. Hopefully it doesn't come, but if it does, what can we do? So yeah, again, if you guys have any questions, just throw them in the comments section. If you want to come on live and you want to have a discussion with me, let me know. I'll send you a link. Right now we can just do a one-on-one quick video chat if that's what you want to do. I just kind of figured that out probably about 2 hours ago. I guess I always knew about it, but I kind of was playing a little bit around with it after James Dodkins came on, and we did a kind of an AMA together. But I guess I can send that to anybody. To be honest, I could just even put it in the comments, and you guys could just hop on. But I think next week maybe we'll we'll do that a little bit more, especially when I'm back from CCW. Last time I was out there, I kind of did a podcast on my thoughts on it. So if you're not going, I'll do kind of like a mini pod, kind of give you my overall impression, where I'm seeing the industry going. What are the type of companies? I mean, last time it was really AI driven. I'm sure that's going to, have AI is going to have another big showing there too as well. I got this. What is the most important feature I look for in a contact center solution? I mean, that's really hard to say. So when we consult, or when I consult on the technology side, really the scope. But I mean, if you're talking, you got to be able to block and tackle, right? So the number one thing is, what are your features that I'm getting? So you better have full omni-channel, right? So voice, chat, email, all of that needs to be kind of tied in, right? That needs to be just not slapped on. Your uptime is everything, right? So that's a huge differentiator whenever anyone is buying any type of contact center solution. The uptime of some of the legacy cloud solutions seem to be a little bit better, although there's a lot of really good smaller organizations as well. That's a huge piece of it. The service model is a huge piece of what is going on with this as well. Price is a huge, differentiator as well. So again, I'm not saying anything that is mind blowing. I like things that are native to the platform, right? So the more native things you have, WFM, workforce management, speech analytics, any type of other tools that I can just get that are native, I think makes me feel better than slapping things on. Now, there's some companies that are just so good that they're never going to, that the native suite might not be good in that analytic, right? I get that. I still like to have a company with a robust bullpen of tools, right, that I can go to, and I don't need to go vet a bunch of other companies. I like to do that all at once. That's a big differentiator for me as well. But if you could have the greatest tools ever, and if you're up 90% of the time, and I'm down all the time, and I got issues, and I can't get a hold of anybody, that's a huge piece of this. So again, I don't think that's probably anything that I'm saying that nobody already knows, and I don't think there's really nothing there that's too mind blowing. But just like so many startups, they don't think about the service model, right? They think about the tool, and the service model comes second, right? Where they're not being kind of built in uniform or in unison. And I think, that's a huge piece of, because no matter what, a cloud contact center is a SaaS product, right? It's a SaaS company, right? And unfortunately, even though they're in the CX space, they sometimes forget about that too. And that gets built out second, or it's just not funded as well as the other stuff. The other thing is how are the releases done, right? I've seen so many headaches from so many different organizations that do a poor job with bugs on new releases that it handicaps people, right? It's a huge piece of the pie. So again, from a consulting side, if anyone is ever looking for anything, go find a broker. I would help you. There's a ton of good ones out there. Go find a consultant. I guess nobody likes the word broker anymore, right? But anyway, a broker, a consultant that can take you through a bunch of the things that I just said, so that you know what you don't know, and you can ask the right questions. Because just saying, "Hey, this is what we need. This is what we need," really isn't what you need. And the last thing I'm going to say on this, and then I'm going to move on, is I have found with every single one in all the software providers, they hate when I say this, but negotiate everything. That first price is terrible. It's ridiculous. It's stupid, right? The first price that they give you from a implementation standpoint, the first price that they gave you on a per seat, right? Negotiate it. They will negotiate and they will work with you on it. They know that first price is silly, but so many people don't do that, or they don't know what the prices really should be. Again, that's why the consultants really work, because they know what the numbers should be. They're working on your behalf, and you're really not even paying them, right? They're getting it all on the back end. So I don't know. That was a long rambling answer, but I have a lot of feelings on that, and everybody's different, right? So what a 500 seat center that's working on financial services needs from an integration and a setup standpoint is going to be different than what a 25 seat center that does mostly outbound needs, right? So it's kind of hard to kind of pick and choose that, but I don't know. Hopefully that gives a little bit of insight into it. Thank you for the question. So as we're kind of getting through this, if anybody is, I'll just kind of say this again as people kind of are funneling in and coming and going here, is I will be at Call Center Week at CCW in Vegas, leaving Sunday. So if anybody wants to meet up on Sunday, on Monday, on Tuesday, I'm out of there on Wednesday. I got to get back to the office for a client visit on Thursday, so I didn't want to risk it. But I, at least we'll be out there. If you see me on the floor, make sure that you come say hi. I'd love to take a picture. I'd love to do a quick video. You guys know me. I'm a video and social media junkie. So I'd love to, even just talk with you. You guys want to have a beer? You want to go get something? I'm game. Love to just meet as many of you guys as I possibly can. I have one more quick update on the NFT project that we are doing. Pretty much have everything set. That's been pushed back a little bit, but I think we're still going to be mid-July. We're going to do an announcement Thursday or Friday of next week when I get back. But we are looking, let me just make sure I get this date right here. July 20th right now is the date that we have tentatively for the drop of the NFT project. So please remember, this is totally free. I'm not making any money off of this, right? Other than if there's maybe a secondary sale, which I don't think there's going to be too many of them. And if I'm adding enough value, hopefully there's not, but it will be totally free. All you'll do is pay for gas. It will be the same token for everybody. We were going to do 2 tokens, but it's our first time, 1 token. And it's basically a ton of access to me, to my team, helping you guys out. Special AMAs just for you. We're going to bring special guests on just for you. Access to me for any questions. There's an emergency. Like if anything's going to hell in a handbasket, you can call me. Even if it's Sunday at 3 a.m, I'll answer. We'll have a special line. So I'll see that on my phone. So just, I think some things like that to add in some gear, right? Some sweatshirts and hoodies and things like that as well. So again, it's free. Anybody who owns the NFT kind of just becomes part of the special club, right? The Advice from a Call Center Geek access token. And as we go on, I think we're going to keep adding more and more utility as we kind of get better at it too, because this is kind of something new for us as well, but kind of excited. All right, Dustin's got a question. Have you seen or experienced the adoption of sales enablement functions in addition to training departments in many companies? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, when you talk about sales enablement functions, I mean, there's a lot of different tools that we're using that a lot of other customers that we've seen are using. I mean, even the people that we've had on, even from an agent assist, I think that could be one of the biggest, sales functions, or at least tools as well. That's come in the past, 5 to 7 years. I think that, from the aspect of, the training, and I'm trying to just make sure I'm hitting your question from a training area. Most everyone needs to have some of that, right? Everything that we do, even on the customer experience side, there's always some type of cross-sell, upsell, right? So we're always thinking that through in our head. Almost every client that we have, not only are we doing service, but we need to have our reps, either with the tools, right, or making sure that they are trained and understand closing signals, understanding when to go after certain specific sales. So I'm not sure if I'm answering your question. If you're looking for specific tools there's a ton of tools that I have seen that are really cool. But even from, the training aspect, making sure that, you kind of cover everything. Like we do fear training. So we have 35 hours of Expivia training if you're a new hire, before you go on to a client train. And one of the things we do is, if this is new to you, whether you're calling, taking inbound calls, or maybe you're making, outbound service calls, or, doing something like that, there's always a bit of fear, right? It's the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of, what if I get a jerk on the other end of the line? What if I don't know where to go? Like all these things play into your head. And so, especially on the outbound side, I think that's or I should say more on the sales side, in the sales type programs, right? Because with any type of sales, you have to deal with rejection. For some people, they could care a lot. Like everybody's got them, right? We all have like those couple reps that are like, I could care less if I get told no 400 times. I'm going after that next one, right? Those are the great, those hardcore salespeople. But a lot of people, that's not natural to them, right? So, to really train that in, I think, is important. And then to give them the tools right? Especially from an analytics standpoint, from an AI standpoint, to guide them on what sales or what to go after or what to pitch, or this customer is leaning towards doing this, I think is a really, really important thing that we're starting to see. And I think that, agent assist, I see as a big piece of the economic downturn. Like, I think that companies are going to want that more because I think it's a huge, especially on a sales type program. I think that's a huge tool, right? And I think it can make sure, the other company, Actify, that I had on the podcast, and I think that a company like that is going to do some really cool things during an economic downturn. And basically what they do is they take all of the customers that really you kind of couldn't get a hold of, nothing really happened with them, but you have, all the TCPA opt-in data on, and they basically create campaigns that will do SMS texting, right? Emails, but mostly SMS, to kind of go out, have bots and have AI that's trying to make them warm again so that they come back into your contact center. And then your sales guys can either take the inbound call, a lot of it's inbound, or they make an outbound call to them, but they actually generate back inbound leads. So really cool company on that from the sales aspect. So again, I think hopefully I answered that, right? Hopefully covering a couple tools, also some of the sales and some of the training aspects that, we see. But yeah, I mean, no matter what, you're always selling, right? You're always selling. So again, I hope I answered you, Dustin. Thanks for the question. But yeah, it's been interesting. We've seen a lot of, and maybe it is I guess I never put two and two together until now. We've seen a lot of win back campaigns, right? So, instead of customers that are trying to go lead gen and spend money on new customers, really trying to work through win back campaigns and trying to get customers that didn't sell, or they didn't do the next step with them, and trying to get them back on the books, because you don't need to lead gen them. You already paid for it. All you're paying for is this kind of secondary marketing that you would have done anyway if you're trying to get, another lead in the door. So, I mean, that's some of the stuff that, I'm thinking through, even outside of just the stuff that I'm doing in my call center, for if an economy when it kind of goes down from an efficiency standpoint, but trying to think those, like right there, like that's a note, that's something I will definitely talk about, with even the type of campaigns and some of the things that I think that you can do in your contact center, from the sales aspect, that, maybe cost less money because you don't have the budget, because maybe the stock price of the company that you're working for is going down, right? We saw that when I was working for, Bank of America and Citibank and Chase and GE Capital, it was 2008, and Bank of America stock goes to like 2, right? Marketing and the customer experience side really took a hit, right? Because they're trying to block and tackle. I keep using blocking and tackling, but they're trying to just keep the bank together at that point. So a lot of offshoring happened, right? USA guys got beat up. So that's why you got to be careful, again, as a BPO, where you are. And we tried not to make that mistake. And luckily, I don't think we have made that mistake with Expivia, as we have, healthcare, financial services, retail, tech. We're really trying to just kind of span a lot of the insurance, a lot of the different channels, to make sure that, during this type, we're here to support instead of taking a beating ourselves, because that's no fun, right? It's no fun for anybody. So again, let me know, guys, if you have any questions. I'm getting a couple things on LinkedIn. Let me check my email here, make sure I didn't skip anybody or miss anybody. Again, I appreciate, the questions that you guys have. Again, I think I covered most of the stuff that I see right now in my messages, in my email, talking about some of the economic stuff, talking about analytics. I'd love to know hit me up if any of you guys are going to be at CCW. I got plenty of time. That's all I'm going to be doing, is trying to meet you guys. So tlaird@expivia.net. Let me see if I can do a quick banner here with that. I'm getting better at this. You know what? I'm going to scroll this on the bottom of the screen. Oh, maybe I'm not. Let's try that. Look at that. All right. My email, anybody who's going to be at CCW, hit me up. Oh, look at that. I'm getting really good at this thing. Yeah, Robert Wilson's talking about again. I don't really want to, other than if you've been on the podcast, Rob Wilson, you guys, if you want to hit him up, he knows about an SMS marketing that does conversational AI. Yeah, I don't want to talk about anybody I don't know about on the podcast, but I appreciate that. I think I just probably did that earlier, which I probably shouldn't have. But again, I appreciate that. There's a lot of really cool tools out there, especially on the, we talk about conversational AI. I haven't seen it. We can talk about it. I can get into arguments about that a lot. Bots, and I think that there's a place for them. But we're not at the point where, even talking to the last podcast, I love this, when Ashish from Level AI talked about, it's really, really easy, right, to listen and find negative sentiment, right? And I think wait, hold on. Let me make sure I got that right. Yes. I'm sorry. Positive sentiment is very easy. Negative can be very difficult, right? Because we can say things that are sarcastic, right? That can be viewed as positive when they're really negative, or negative when they're really positive. So there's some human natural language understanding nuance, right, that we really struggle with, that AI really struggles with. So when somebody's coming to me with conversational AI, normally I'm a little skeptical on what that means. I've never had a really good conversation with a bot other than if I needed something specific. And I think that's the use case. Hey, will you change my password? Here's my data. And they do it for me. Perfect. Love it. If I'm going to have a 10-minute conversation on, this specific tool or this piece of software that doesn't work and it's giving me this error message and it only happens on the third page of the website, I don't want to have that conversation with a robot yet. Not saying it's not going to happen. They just said they got a sentient AI software person, non-person. So who knows where this thing's going? But I just, when I even walked last CCW, I walked the entire room. I talked to almost every AI booth I could go to. I asked them what their definition of AI was. And, I'll tell you what, Mark Bernstein from Balto and Ashish Dagar from Level AI, they had a really good, succinct definition of it, right? But so many other people, how they're saying AI is basically, we're just kind of pulling things out of data. And maybe there's some AI to that. But it's nothing that I think is such an earth-shattering thing that, we need to be calling it that. So that's where my skepticism still comes into play. But, I'm going to go with an open mind again. And again, I think 6 months in an AI world is there could be huge differences, right? From December to what's going on, here in June. I mean, that's how fast things are moving. So again, I'm a clean slate, walk in there. I'll let you guys know what I feel. I could be right. I could be wrong. All right. I hope I'm wrong. Like, I'd love to see some of this stuff really, really kind of play out. I mean, I'm working on Expivia Digital, right? Where we're looking at, Web3 NFT projects, servicing them, trying to get bots that are listening into Discord to pull specific things that we find could be offensive or are questions that community holders may have for NFT projects. So again, I want to see that technology get really, really good. I don't feel like it's there yet. And again, I'm going to get off my AI soapbox before you guys hit me or send me something nasty, or I lose every sponsor that I've ever had for the podcast and no one ever wants to talk to me again. But just trying to be real. All right. Anything else, guys? And anything that's been kind of bothering you? Any agent issues that you've been having? Any management training issues? Questions about staffing? I just had a long conversation with a follower, a brand new follower, about benchmarking KPIs, which is another conversation that always gets into huge arguments or people disagreeing with me. So I'm totally fine with that if we want to have that that discussion again. But there's a lot that I don't know, maybe I believe in, and I love, like, when you guys push back. I think I always try to respond. I know I had a couple LinkedIn things this week where people talked about, like, if somebody pushes back on me, I never respond. That's not intentional. I just don't see it then. I think the best conversations, I always am respectful. I know sometimes don't get that back in return. But I try to be respectful, try to at least, kind of get your opinion as much as I possibly can. But, there's just some things that I do know a lot about the space, right? And I know a lot about the technology aspect and the actual running and things that have worked for me, things that have not worked for me. So, again, I'm not right all the time, but I think that, there's some aspects of things that I kind of use as kind of Bible. So I think that's kind of the most important thing that I've seen. So my wife is home now from her trip, her week off. So may end this early. So if anybody has any last second questions, before I go say hi, if not, maybe I will, do a pop-up too at Call Center Week, maybe Monday or Tuesday next week in Vegas. And we can do a quick one. But other than that, guys, I'm going to wrap this early. Good talking to everybody. Hopefully I can see a bunch of you. Remember, I'll be out there Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. See you guys hopefully next week.